All right, and so that was cell network location information. You talked about per call measurement data. This is about Snapchat geo-targeting information. Could you explain what's different and distinct about this geo-targeting information?
Yes. So geo-targeting information was developed by marketing companies as a marketing strategy to deliver more relevant content to a user's phone based on where they're geographically located. And Snapchat will say this, it says it in its disclosure policies, it collects 3 types of information. That's locational information. It also collects your address, your area code, your cell phone number, and your zip code, so it knows where you're at. There you go. It knows where you're at. So the 3 types of information that Snapchat collects to target ads to you is IP information, GPS coordinates, and cellular data. And then Snapchat gives some broad information about the accuracy of its geo-targeting information. So at the country level, its geo-targeting information is 90% accurate. At the state level, it's 75 to 80% accurate. And then its accuracy varies on that based on zip codes, cities, and regions. And they don't give us more specifics than that.
So Snapchat's geo-targeting information comes from 3 sources of location information, and then you can compare this information from Snapchat with cell phone network location data.
We absolutely cross-reference it, yes.
What are we seeing here?
So this is just an example of what a radius. So Snapchat is saying this phone is at or near at this date and time. So on June 17th, 2021 at 8:11:25 p.m. This phone is in this bubble, and this bubble is 36.6 meters. So the circle of the radius is determined by latitude and longitude, and that's going to be in the center right here. That's going to be your center.
So it's just giving us some information about accuracy, essentially, correct?
Yes.
All right, what are we seeing here?
So this is just to give you a reminder or cue. When you see mapping for Houston Danker for his cell phone number or Snapchat, it's going to be red. When you see mapping information for Ryan Cooper, we are just using his cell phone in this, it's going to be green. And then when you see mapping information or visual depiction of records from Karina Cooper, it's going to be blue for US Cellular, Snapchat, and then there's some Google information.
All right. You've noted key locations in Traer, Iowa. What are these key locations?
Right. So this is just to orientate you to the lay of the land and where things are at here. We're going to start here on the west side of the screen, so north is up on all of the slides today. Ryan and Karina Cooper's residence is here, 1846 K Avenue. This pin just represents the geographic location of their house. Aaron Cooper's residence is here, 1856 Highway 63. This is Highway 63. It turns into 96 here, and then Highway 63 at this intersection continues north-south. Here we have the city of Traer. This is 2nd Street, or Highway 8, as it's referred to. And then Houston Danker's residence is going to be on the east side of this slide, and it's 2798 Highway 8. This is just a different view. So the thing that I want you to notice is we have more population density here. This is obviously the city of Traer. You can see more streets. Again, this is the Cooper residence, pretty rural, surrounded by farmland. I think there's one small residence here and one residence here, one here. This is the Aaron Cooper residence, and then Mr. Danker's residence. So we're just showing you the geographics that this is rural Iowa. Okay.
And what are we seeing here?
This is, again, just to show you our roads here. this is 63 north-south, this is Highway 63 east-west, and then this is K Avenue. Their street address is actually K Avenue, so you'd come up here and then there's a driveway to their house right
And is
there.
this just a satellite view of that same property?
Yep, it's just to get you used to looking at the maps so you know where things are geographically located at the maps. And we're going to show you the maps in the simplest format, so you're going to see them mapped in the other sequence. But we just want you to recognize that there's farmland around here, K Avenue, Highway 63, and then here's our T intersection here.
All right. So what are we seeing in this slide here?
So Ryan Cooper's cell phone starts its night out at the Trayer Sports Complex, and when you're seeing the darkening of the lines here, we call that pancaking. It just means that the phone's in the general geographic location for a long time. So our arcs appear darker, and then what you're going to see is that the phone is going to leave the sports complex. It's going to go up through Trayer, and then the device is going to end up in the general vicinity of the Cooper residence here at 1846 K Avenue. And the time frame of that is the travel here from the general vicinity of the Trayer Sports Complex to there. There we go. Was 740 to 802. So if you look at Google driving distance, so if you were just to put that in your map and say, what is the driving distance from the Trayer Sports Complex going up 2nd Avenue and through Trayer, which is the path that I see the device travel. Google driving distance says that that takes about 10 minutes. So the device, when it starts to migrate from the area of the sports complex, Ryan's device, I don't know what they had going on that night, but it takes them, this device on this trip, approximately 22 minutes from the Trayer Sports Complex to the residence, the Cooper residence at 1846 K Avenue. Okay. So this is the time
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Just returning to that previous
Okay,
slide.
sorry.
Is this an example then of, you mentioned that this was pancaking, showing that the device is just in the same place for a period of time. I see the clock running there.
Yep, and you can actually see the actual times of all of these slides. And then it's also just to kind of orientate your eye to movement. The device is going to eventually leave the Trayer Sports Complex, kind of go up through Trayer, and then end up at the residence. So this is the device moving there, and there's the device at the residence. Definitively at 802, I'd say the device is in the vicinity of 1846 K Avenue.
And this is the night of June 17th, 2021?
Yes, sir. Okay. And then this is just to show two things. Again, we're just getting used to the pancaking or the darker lines. So this is just a brief time period from 8:02 to 8:26 p.m. And then you can see this is the cell site, but this is our timing data, so we can be more specific and say the device is generally in the vicinity of the residence. And then that phone call in the lower left-hand corner right here at 8:26 is the last time that I can say there was a manipulation on that device. So at 8:26 p.m., Ryan Cooper's cell phone made an outgoing phone call. Okay.
All right, what are we seeing here? It says June 18th, 2021, 4:43 a.m.
Yes, sir. So we're seeing our heavy arcs here. This is just a still image. We didn't, this is about the time that law enforcement arrives on scene, and we're just seeing that this device is stationary near 1846 K Avenue. And also what we know is that this device was recovered by investigators at 1846 K Avenue. So independent corroboration. The records tell us that this device is there, and the investigators physically were able to recover the actual device from the residence.
It's based on the location information that you received from U.S. Cellular as well as that outgoing phone call. Does it appear to you that Ryan Cooper's device left the residence there at 1846 K Avenue on the night that he was killed?
No.
And that was information for Ryan Cooper's phone. This is Karina Cooper's phone, correct?
Yes, sir. And you're going to see this in blue. We've put the blue up there just so you know. This is what Karina's phone was doing on June 17th and 18th of 2021.
And this is sourced from U.S. Cellular records and Snapchat information?
There are two sources in here, and I'll make sure to point out the difference between them. So again, we see Karina's phone on June 17th, 2021 at the Trayer Sports Complex. It starts at the Trayer Sports Complex, and then you're going to see here shortly that Karina Cooper's device is going to leave the Trayer Sports Complex, and it's going to follow the same path over to 1846 K Avenue. And then, can we just replay that slide one more time? Go forward for me. Thanks. So this is when the device is stationary at the Trayer Sports Complex. So I'm just showing that her device is also at the Trayer Sports Complex. Counselor, can you go forward to the next slide? I just want to show them the Snapchat, sorry. And this is just to show that she has Snapchat information around the Trayer Sports Complex between the time of 5:48 and 7:40. The specific times are indicated on here. So we have cell phone information from U.S. Cellular, and then we also have Snapchat information that agree that this device is in the general vicinity of the Trayer Sports Complex. And then this is the device traveling from the Trayer Sports Complex through Trayer, and the device is ultimately going to end up at 1846 K Avenue. But in reviewing these records, obviously I watched them hundreds of times, I see what I think is a little pause in Trayer, and we will show you on Snapchat where that is on the next slide here. So this is the device leaving. Do you see some overlap of arcs here? I think this device stopped at Pizza Palace on the way home in Trayer, Iowa. So we see that on Snapchat, and I see just a little pancaking and overlapping in town. And then ultimately, there it is, right there. And then this is Snapchat to show by this time this evening that the device ends up at home. It takes about 20 minutes and 25 seconds for her to get home. And then the U.S. Cellular data also agrees that Ms. Cooper's device is home during this time frame. So this is just to show from 8:01 p.m. to 4:43 in the morning. And then we do have some Snapchat locational information that shows the device is in the general vicinity of 1846 K Avenue. So our data is in agreement.
And is this just the U.S. Cellular information, and it also has an outgoing call as well?
Yep, and then we have one outgoing phone call. So the last time on the 17th of June 2021 that I see a device manipulation, so this is a human manipulation, is at that 8:04 time frame. Last outgoing call there.
Okay, and that's on June 17th at 8:04.
Yes. But the device is there at 4:43 in the morning, and we know this device makes the 911 call. And then this is just to kind of give you an idea of Snapchat patterns are really granular like this, what Snapchat looks like from 8:11, and then the Snapchat location information, we don't get any additional Snapchat information for Karina Cooper's Snapchat account after 3:33 a.m. in the morning. It ends.
But was there Snapchat information around 3 in the morning and up until 3:33 in the morning?
3:33 is our last data point. So there's consistent Snapchat information from 8:11 p.m. This is locational information from Snapchat. So something is triggering locations in Snapchat. This is geo-targeting information. And we have that consistently on an ongoing basis from 8:11 p.m. till 3:33 in the morning. And then there is no more.
And so based on the information you had provided before, this would be user manipulation of the phone, including sending Snapchat messages, correct?
You know, there's lots of reasons Snapchat doesn't tell us exactly what's going on, but something is happening in an interaction with Snapchat that there's geo-targeting information being recorded.
And that went on through 3:33 a.m. and then it stopped?
It did stop.
What are we seeing here?
And then I just wanted to show you the last user-manipulated event. So here's our cell site. Remember, this is our general flashlight example, but here's 1846 K Avenue. So on June 17th, 2021 at 8:04 p.m., this is the last outgoing call on this date. And then our first outgoing call here is June 18th, 2021 at 4:30 a.m.
And again, that's from Karina Cooper's cell phone at 4:30 a.m., correct?
Yes, sir.
What are we seeing here?
This is just a visual depiction of records so I can sequence them from you. So what you're seeing here is at 4:30 a.m., Karina Cooper's cell phone calls Aaron Cooper's cell phone. This is a connected call recorded on the U.S. cellular records, and that call is 27 seconds in length. At 4:31, Aaron Cooper's cell phone calls Karina Cooper's cell phone. That's a 1-second call, so it may or may not have actually rang, but the network recorded this event here. And then at 4:32, Aaron Cooper calls Karina Cooper, and this phone call is 22 seconds in length. This information here and here that are underlined, this is from the Tama County dispatch records for 911. So when you call 911 from your cell phone, that the cell phone companies purposely don't put that in business records, because if you're calling and someone that's with you in a situation is the bad person, and they have access to your cell phone records, they don't want that to show. So cell phone companies don't necessarily show those in business records, but we know this from the Tama County dispatch logs. At 4:33 in the morning, Karina Cooper calls 911. And the duration on this call is 4 minutes and 59 seconds. And then shortly after that, Aaron Cooper also calls 911. That's at 4:34. And that phone call lasts 7 minutes and 41 seconds. At 4:39, dispatch puts, and they're actually on the phone with him the whole time, puts Aaron Cooper out at 1846 K Avenue. And then 4:42, dispatch logs the first deputy on the scene from the 911 dispatch logs.
All right, and this is Houston Danker's U.S. Cellular and Snapchat information, correct?
Yes. So this is just, Mr. Danker works in Van Horn, Iowa, and this is just him progressing up to his residence here. So this is a snapshot of time the cellular records from June 17th, 2021, from 6:21 p.m. to 6:58. So this is just him leaving work and going to his residence. Okay.
All right, this says device trip 1. What information are we seeing?
So first, what you're seeing here, we'll just let it play, is the round trip. This device is going to leave 2798 Highway 8. It's going to come up kind of through Traer. It's going to come a little bit here. We're going to break this down in a minute. Just past 1846, the Cooper residence here. So this is the first arc. Can we go back one slide? Oh, forward. Sorry. I apologize. So this is the device traveling up. This is its furthest forward progression, and this is the device traveling down. And the time frame on that is 6:58 p.m. to 7:30. So Google driving distance is 9 miles. Google says it takes about 11 minutes to get there one way, and the whole trip was 31 minutes and 21 seconds. So starting from 2798, going up and through, kind of the furthest device progression here, and then returning back the same way to 2798. So in this entire set of records, this device only drives by 1846 K Avenue 3 times once, and that's on June 17th, 2021. So I'm showing you the 3 trips that this device makes past the residence. Okay, so this is just to show you, this is where the device started, this is where the device ended on the trip out here. So this is from 6:58 to 7:14. So this is all part of that animation we just showed you. The next slide will kind of show you the return trip here. So by 7:14, we call this the most forward progression, the farthest forward progression there. By 7:14, that's as far as this device goes forward. This device is turning around here. By 7:16, I can see that the arcs are now moving to the east, and this device has turned around, so it drove by the residence once this way, and then it's returning past the residence here, and it's ultimately going to go back to Mr. Denker's home residence.
All right, this says 7:14 to 7:30.
Yep, so this is just a show from our farthest forward progression to the return arc that I see near the residence at 27:98. That's the return trip time, and that takes about 15 minutes.
All right, what are we seeing in device trip 2?
So device trip 2, we can just let it play. We're going to see that this device is going to leave the residence here. It's going to go up through Traer, and then it's going to continue on to Gladbrook. It's going to be in Gladbrook for a limited amount of time, around 5 minutes, and then it's going to drive back past the Cooper residence up through Traer, and then Mr. Denker's device is ultimately returning to his home residence here at 2798 Highway 8. So as the crow flies, it's 17 miles, 17.1 miles, and this trip from arc to arc takes 39 minutes and 4 seconds, and that's pretty close to what Google Drive Time says. Google Drive Time says from the Denker residence here to Gladbrook, it should take 20 minutes one way, so 40 minutes round trip. So this is pretty consistent with what Drive Time says on Google. And then this is just a blow up of that to show when the device is going by the house, and we're seeing some blue here, as you can see. So there is Snapchat activity from Karina Cooper's Snapchat account near the 1846K Avenue at 8:13:35, and then the red obviously is Mr. Denker's device traveling west towards the Gladbrook area.
All right, the next slide here.
This is just to show that Mr. Denker's in Gladbrook for a limited amount of time. This is our farthest outward progressing arc. That's at 8:20. And this arc here at 8:25 is showing that the device is returning, starting to move eastward. So the device is in Gladbrook for less than 5 minutes on device trip number 2. And then this is just to show what the times are on our arcs, and then we see our forward progression. So here's 8:30, here's 8:31, that's going to be this arc here, and then 8:32. So it's just showing that the device is moving to the east, and then we also see that Ms. Cooper has Snapchat locational data at 8:29 during that time as well. And then ultimately, this is just to show you from arc to arc the device furthest forward progression, and then it returns back. So
All right, you've marked this as device trip number 3.
I did. So this trip is from, the device is going to do something different here. So this trip is on June 17th, 2021 from 9:04 to 9:40 p.m. So the device is going to leave from the Denker residence. But what you're going to see here, and we'll break this down, is that this device is largely stationary in this area for about 7 minutes, and then it's going to return a slightly different way here, come back up, and return home. We'll break that down for you more specifically. So the device on the third trip leaves the same way, but it hangs out in a specific area for a little bit. We have some pancaking, and X marks the spot stationary movement, and then it ultimately returns home a different way. And we'll break that down more here. And we can see that There is some Snapchat activity here as the device, Houston Danker's device. This is Karina Cooper's residence. And we can see that there's some Snapchat activity while the device crosses. And then ultimately when we're seeing these X's and this device is in this area, we'll see it on a different slide.
Okay, you're saying that you're seeing Snapchat data from Ms. Cooper as Mr. Danker's device crosses that area near 1846 K Avenue.
Yes, I am. So there's Snapchat activity on Karina Cooper's phone, and Mr. Danker's device is locationally in the vicinity of this area right here.
And you said that the device was in that area, and you said about 7 minutes, if I understand correctly. You mean in the area of Ryan Cooper and Karina Cooper's residence, correct?
I do. We'll see that more specifically on the next slide. Okay. Can you go ahead and hit play? So from 9:19 to 9:26 p.m., I don't know if you're able to pause this. This device, do we see our pancaking kind of stationary here? A lot of X marks the spots here, crossover, and when we see that, we know the device. We can be more specific on where this device is located. And also the phenomenon of, on that last slide, just let it play again. This device is using 4 different cell phone towers in this 7-minute and 9-second period. So the device is in this general area from 9:19 to 9:26, about 7 minutes and 9 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4 cell sites. So the device really isn't moving much during that time.
What are we seeing here?
This is just to show from the arc coming back when the phone is returning to the way home. Like this is the first arc, this is the second arc, and then the next slide will show you the route of travel. So the device goes, returns to 2798 a different way. And we're going to break that down on the next slide. So the device is going to come down here. You're going to see it move along here, up, and then ultimately end up at 2798. So the device returns home. It takes a different route the last trip by.
And so when you say it takes a different route, you mean this third trip differs from trip number 1 and 2 in terms of the route taken to return home?
On the return route. The return route is more gravel and rural roads. So the return route isn't just back through Trayer, back to the house. It goes out this way. It's in this area for a period of time, and then it comes down and ultimately returns to 2798.
And you also indicated that here on the bottom right-hand part of your slide, it says 14 minutes and 30 seconds. Was that their recorded travel time?
Yes, so it's very fast. The Google drive time, so Google figures on the speed limit. The Google drive time for this return route from roughly 1846 K Avenue over to 2798 is actually 18 minutes. So this device is absolutely moving at a higher rate of speed than recommended drive time.
And just as a reminder, we're at 9:26 to 9:40. This is the night before Ryan is killed, correct?
Yes.
What are we seeing here?
And then this is just to show that Mr. Danker's device from 9:40 p.m. until 5:22 a.m. Ultimately the device leaves the residence to go to work. It goes down to where we know Mr. Danker works at, is at home. So the device is stationary there. And then we don't get on so the device is home. We don't see it really go anywhere during this time frame. And we don't have a lot of Snapchat location information for Mr. Danker's device. The last Snapchat location information we get from this device, if you can flip to the next slide for me, please, is at 10:47 and 10:48 p.m. on June 17th. And then there is no more locational information on this device going into the early morning hours when the device leaves. So the device leaves, this is the last locational information I have, and the device leaves to the residence.
So if I understand, returning to your previous slide, Mr. Danker's cell phone was at or around his residence throughout the night, including the time that Ryan Cooper was killed, until the next morning around 5:22 a.m.
That is correct.
And what are we seeing here at 5:22?
This is just to show you that the device has departed the residence here. So we're at 5:22, and we see the device moving away from the residence, and the device ultimately leaves.
All right. Showing you some information here, it looks like it says U.S. Cellular and has Karina Cooper's cell phone number and device history. What is the information that we're seeing here?
Yep. So I just want you to recognize our last 4 digits here. This is Karina Cooper's cell phone number. Our last 4 digits here are 6135. So this is actual subscriber information. It's just a snip from U.S. Cellular business records. And this is the Apple iPhone 8 Plus. So the cell phone company tells us what this cell phone is. And then the last service that this device has is, this device was seized by law enforcement on June 18th, 2021, from Ms. Cooper at the residence, at the Cooper residence. But the service on this is ended or switched on June 21st, 2021. And if you look at the time here, 11:27:33 a.m. on June 21st, the service is ended. And then the service begins on this device, which is an Android-based phone. We have our same phone number here. So Karina Cooper switches her service to a different cell phone. This is 11:27:34, so just seconds after that. This cell phone is in service. This Samsung Galaxy S5 is in service. She keeps service with this phone number until June 2nd, 2021. And then we see here, if we look, we have another device switch. We've switched devices again. So the final device, and then we don't see an end service date here, meaning this may be the device she still has, or during the set of records we have, this device was still in use. This device is used from July 2nd, 2021, and it's an iPhone SE second generation, also an Apple.
All right. And this final information says Karina Cooper, Snapchat, and Google. What information do we see here?
Right. So we obviously see on June 21st, 2021, this information here, the top 2 entries are from a search warrant to Google. We can see that at 4:28 p.m., Google Chrome, so an internet browser, was visited, and Google Chrome actually recorded this as Karina Cooper's Snapchat password was reset. Then shortly after that, 1 minute later, Google Chrome records that they sent an email about Snapchat. So if you reset your password, Snapchat emails you to make sure it's truly you. And the email was sent, and it was a Snapchat email saying your password has been reset. And then this piece of information here, this is an actual snip from the Snapchat records here. This information is on June 22nd, 2021 at 2:54 p.m. Karina Cooper's Snapchat is deleted. That is a user-manipulated event. You have to go on and physically delete your Snapchat. And I don't know if you can see this because of the other screen, but over in the far corner, it just shows that Snapchat's business records record the status of this Snapchat account is that it was deleted. And that's a user-deleted account.
And perhaps you could show that information on the smaller display for the jury. I think they may be able to see that better. You can
Okay.
stand up.
records often come in universal time coordinated, so we have to convert that to our time, and the time offset's -5. So the time here in Central Standard Time is right here. It's 2:54:12 p.m. that Snapchat records on June 22nd that Karina Cooper's Snapchat account was deleted.
So 2 days after Ryan's death, she's resetting her Snapchat password. What's the relevance of the fact that this is done through Chrome?
So she wouldn't have her phone. So if you log onto your Snapchat account from a different device, you're going to have to remember your password. So there's a possibility she didn't know her password, or she just wanted to change it, or the person that was logging in just wanted to change it.
Essentially, that would allow you to gain access to your Snapchat account.
Right. You can't gain access to your Snapchat account on a different device that you haven't been logged into unless you can provide your password.
And then the account was fully deleted approximately 4 days after Ryan's death.
That's correct, on June 22nd, 2021.
And were you able to determine, you talked a little bit about pattern of life, did Karina Cooper previously use Snapchat frequently?
Yes.
Please explain.
So she used Snapchat. We did recover some content on Snapchat. She was in a number of texting groups, one like the Housewives of Tama County, where it was a bunch of other people, and they would talk about kids, trips they were planning, things like that. She used Snapchat a lot for pictures of her children or cute little videos of her kids, them doing activities, riding bikes, baseball, and some communications with relating to like business or hair appointments, all sorts of things. So a frequent Snapchat user, which isn't uncommon for a business owner.
And we also saw some Snapchat messages between Karina Cooper and Houston Danker at 3:30 in the morning on the night of the homicide regarding shell casings and other things of that nature, including her making a statement to Houston Danker, go, which was the last communication that we saw between
Objection, Your Honor. I'd like him to ask a question.
Yep. Go ahead and ask your question, Mr. Rinkle.
Thank you. Did she frequently communicate with Houston Danker via Snapchat?
We don't see that in the business records from Snapchat, because once a user deletes a snap from Snapchat's server, it's gone forever. So we don't recover the particular messages that the counselor was referencing regarding remember the casings or go from the business records from Snapchat, because if you delete something from the Snapchat server, Snapchat gets rid of it. They don't preserve it. So when we serve just a search warrant, that's why we serve warrants to multiple sources. That's why we examine the phone. We didn't see it in this particular set of records.
And that wouldn't be seen in this set of records, but that's information, as Ms. Lord testified to, and based on your training experience, that may be recovered from devices themselves.
Yes, that's why we always look for multiple sources of information.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.